Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Katelyn, and today we have super epic sponsor video collaboration! So I've actually been really excited for this sponsorship and for being able to do this video, but it happened right around when my appendicitis flared up, and it's been catch up ever since, so I'm glad to finally be able to jump in and do this project. So first and foremost, today's video is sponsored by Arteza. So Arteza is an online art supply company that provides a lot of affordable different art supplies, and they sent me quite a few to try out in a very big project. So we have one for today and another in the future for you guys to look forward to, but today, we're gonna be jumping into some traditional painting. I haven't painted with acrylics or any type of paint in a really long time, so I'm really excited to try these out, see what the quality of the paint is, along with just kind of dive in and do a big painting project. So we reached a recent milestone on this channel of having 45,000 subscribers, which is pretty dang sweet. Like, I'm really excited, and thank you all for being a part of this community. So I wanted to do kind of a big art piece. I haven't done a big one since like Inktober, when I did the giant drawing of all the different characters in the tavern, and this has been sitting on my to-do desk for a while, and I thought it fit really well with the sponsorship today. So today, we're gonna be painting a skateboard deck. I have always wanted to be a skateboard deck designer. Like, between that and a tattoo artist, those have been some of my top like art career goals, but specifically, I've always really loved skateboard deck designs. So I bought this like months ago at my local art supply store, and I knew I wanted to do a really cool design on it, and I didn't know exactly what, but I think today I have a pretty cool idea. So today what we're gonna be doing is using the Arteza painting supplies that they sent me to paint all of my Monster Mashes on the bottom of this skateboard deck. So just to give you guys an idea about that, there are currently 48 different videos in my Monster Mash playlist, so there's gonna be quite a few monsters on the back of this. But the one rule that I am doing is I want to just do my original creatures. Nothing with like Poke Fusions or the Neopet Fusions. I want to do just my monsters on the back of this, which still I think ends up being close to like 40 monsters. So we're gonna have to figure out how to fit all those monsters on the back of this board. So I am super excited to get this started, but I'm just gonna go over some of the tools that Arteza sent me that I will be using on the final piece. First off, we have 15 miniature brushes, which come with line art, spot, and round. So I have a couple of different cuts to these brushes, so this will help a lot, especially because we're gonna get a lot of little details on this board. Next up, we have the metallic Arteza acrylic paints. And then finally, we have the mega pack of 60 acrylic colors. So we have a lot of different color options in here. We can mix and match them as well, but I'm really excited to have this many color options to paint on the back of that board. So we'll have a combination of regular acrylics and metallic acrylics to use on the board. But first off, before we get started on like the actual painting, I need to figure out how to fit all of these monsters onto this board. So I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take a photo of the board, bring it into Photoshop, and try to at least sketch out and plan out how I'm gonna fit all of these monsters. There are so many in my playlist, and I wanna fit all of them on the board, and I think the only successful way to do that is to try to plan it first and figure out how it all will fit. I also think I'm gonna pick some of the top viewed ones and make them kind of the star children on the back of the board, kind of like, instead of all of the monsters being the same size, maybe have like 2 or 3 that are slightly bigger to add something visually interesting and different to it. So let's go ahead and get some pictures, jump into Photoshop, and do some sketches to figure out how I'm gonna fit all those monsters on that board. All right, so let's jump in and start sketching out this skateboard deck. So I took a really good picture like from above, and then I also had my Monster Mash videos over to the side, and I just kind of went throughout the list and found all of my monsters, skipped towards the end of each of those videos to grab the final piece of the monster to reference. And holy crap, guys, this took forever. Like, when I first started this project, like, I already knew it was gonna be an undertaking. I knew that I drew a lot of monsters on the channel, and like, I've been doing this for about 3 years now, and I know that I've drawn a lot of creatures, but you don't really realize how many creatures you've actually drawn until you sit down and try to draw them all together in one big piece. So I started with kind of picking my favorites and highlighting them and making them kind of larger focal points on the skateboard, which still happened. Like, there's a few on here that still ended up being on the larger side compared to others, But I quickly realized that I was running out of space. I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm not gonna be able to fit all of these monsters if I keep doing a couple big ones or keeping them all at a size that everyone can see. Like, it's not gonna happen. There's too many creatures to fit on this thing for a bunch of really big ones to be taking up too much space. So I kind of went through and did some rescaling later on to figure out where to fit everyone. I kind of wish that I kept the blue dragon slug in the middle a little bit bigger, just because he's one of my favorites, honestly. Like, the blue dragon slug is kind of not officially the Monster Mash mascot. I would say that he's pretty popular in terms of people redrawing him or like sending me fan art. Like, when I went to visit Canada, my intern made me this amazing little Wacom pen holder that was the blue dragon slug, and it's hard for me to like not see like Monster Mashes without him, especially with my creature compendium. He was the main pin. He's gonna be on another project coming up. I always really loved that one. I've loved all my Monster Mashes, but I knew that one had to be a focal point just because I felt so attached to that one. And I know he was like number 10. He wasn't even like OG first 5, but I find that I hold the first 10 pretty close to my heart just because they were kind of the first time I broke into this. And this whole experience and drawing all these monsters was super cool to kind of re-see how I've changed and how diverse and different my monsters have been over the years. I know that was kind of a side mopey tangent, not even mopey, but like I guess emotional tangent of me being like, oh my god, I've changed so much in so many years. But like, it's crazy when you put all these monsters together, you just see how different things have been and like all the different crazy creatures I've made in these 3 years. So now with it figured out and sketched out, I printed out all of it to scale as best as I could. I realized later on that I was a little off, but basically I printed it to scale so then I could lay it on top of the board and get these shapes and sizes transferred, because I didn't want to go through and like guesstimate and be like, okay, well I sketched it on Photoshop, now let me try to guess how to translate that directly onto the board. I'm like, no. If I can print it and lay it on, it would work even better. My first idea was drawing on the back of it or the front of it with pencil and then like scraping over it again. But my friend told me, why not use graphite paper? And I'm like, that's genius. That literally eliminates a second step, like me drawing over everything. I just put it on top of graphite paper and it basically does that drawing part for me. So what I did was I took the skateboard deck and I liberally applied the graphite paper. When I say liberally, it is just like one layer, but like I just got the biggest sheets I could and I bought way too much graphite paper because I was like, oh my gosh, I need so much. And I was like, actually, no, I only used like 1 pack of the larger size. And so I taped it down and made sure to cover every inch of that skateboard, and then I laid down my sketches on top of it. So if you guys think about doing this or some type of transfer thing, I'd recommend getting the tool that comes with it. It's a little metal ball tool that has like a wood handle. It comes in like different sizes and shapes, but that will give you the best results. Like if you use a pencil or a pen and retrace everything, like it will help you see what you drew on last or like what you transferred, but it's going to be not as effective to get the graphite off of the graphite paper onto the board. But I guess it just kind of depends how heavy-handed you are. But either way, after doing this first part, I peeled it back to just kind of see how it was transferring, and I was super surprised at how well it was doing. But this was also really exhausting. Like just getting these lines to transfer onto the board took a really long time. Like it's basically you're redrawing and redoing your entire drawing all over again, and then you also kind of are second guessing like, okay, well, where did I draw last? Like it did leave a little bit of a mark in my printout, like from the little tool. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry guys, my dog just scared the crap out of me. I don't know if you heard my voice jump, but she like tackled me in the side. What were you doing, Elsa? But anyway, as I was saying, it is kind of hard to see what you're doing as you're working, but either way, like there's like a little bit of a silver sheen left behind by the tool scraping the paper, and you can kind of see that, and it also leaves a little bit of an indent on the paper. So that's basically how I tried to keep track of where I drew with this ballpoint pen thingy, and like that's that's all I could do. Like, it was a little hard and a little intimidating. And later on, when I do lift this up, I realized I did miss quite a few places, just because that's what happens when you have to draw blind. You're gonna miss some stuff. But I'd really recommend this method, especially if you're gonna be transferring any type of drawing to something else. Graphite paper was really affordable. I think for my one pack of the giant couple of sheets, it was like maybe $4 to $5 at my local craft store. Really affordable, and God, it helped this process so much because I was really intimidated. I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna get this onto the board. Like, yeah, this was great for me to plan out, but I didn't know how I was gonna transfer it successfully, and this worked super well. So there we go, everything has been transferred. Now time for the big reveal. Let's get this graphite paper off and look at that. Like, holy crap, this was right when it really sunk in that I was gonna be doing this. Like, I am drawing all of these monsters on this big skateboard, and I just really loved seeing the look of this. Like, I think this would be a cool deck in general, just doing a line art and seeing the natural wood behind it. Like, maybe I need to do another one in the future because these were pretty affordable. Like, I would totally buy another skateboard deck and do this again because, wow, it was like a large undertaking, but then seeing this line art version, it'd be super dope to do just a straight line skateboard deck. And like I said earlier in the intro, like, I've always really loved the idea of designing my own skateboard decks and apparel. I think that'd be super cool, and I really hope to do more of that in the future. Also, just to give you guys an insight on what I'm doing here, I'm going through with a pen and adding some of the parts that I missed. I referenced my sketch and double checked it, but now with that done, it's time to unbox the paints. So this 60 set had quite a few colors, which made it really easy for me to figure out which colors to use, and I just had so much fun mixing and matching them. And then we also have the metallic paints, which I did use here and there. I primarily used it for the background later on, but it came with a variety. Like, I was really surprised how metallic each color was. Like, I thought some would be a little dull, but they were all really great. And then finally, we have the 15 set of brushes, which all of them had a couple of different sizes, and this was really nice to use in all of the different aspects of this painting, the bigger areas and the smaller areas. But now it's time to break in these palettes I actually bought for the VidCon meetup. They actually had meat and snacks on them, but now I'm going to use them for their actual purpose, which is painting. I do not do acrylic painting, guys, so you're gonna have to excuse me. This was my first time jumping into it for years, so I was kind of learning the ropes again. So just to give you guys a little bit of an insight on what I am doing here, basically I'm laying on the paint pretty dang thick because I did not want it to be opaque, and I noticed when I was adding any type of thinner or water, the wood showed right through. So I'm layering on really thick, and I really actually loved the texture of it, like having the big globs of paint and just seeing the texture of the painting. I thought it looked really cool and made it look like an interesting like mural painting. I don't know any better way to describe it, but I had a lot of fun just diving in and glopping some paint onto the skateboard. So basically my process and my thought on this was I was gonna go through and do the base coat of everything. Go through and make sure everything had its primary colors and any detailing it needed, and then go back later and do line art and any final finishing touches. This I found was gonna be the best way to do this because in the past when I've done paintings, I've fallen into the trap of doing the line art type of idea first and then going through and doing the primary painting. And what happens there is when you're painting, you usually paint over the line art. So it's kind of like doubling your work, and sometimes it just doesn't look good to have the line art underneath your paint already. I know I was laying it on pretty thick, so I might have not had the problem of it being seen, but I would have had the problem of losing all of my work with the line art if I did it that way. And then I also tried to paint similar creatures to the colors I had. I tried not to waste paint when I could. It's just kind of inevitable, especially when painting something this big and acrylics. Like I tried to keep my paints moist and not let them dry out, but since this took like 3 months on and off, like it was bound to happen that I was gonna have paint dry out and just not, be usable the next day or later on. So I tried to get different monsters in the same go that had the same color palette to try to help alleviate the paint waste and just have something similar. So like, let's say the blue of the previous one, I added like a little extra black or like white or some other color to make it the new color for the next painting. So that helped me save a lot of paint, which was really good. But I did end up going through quite a bit because as you can see, like I said, I laid it on really thick on all of the creatures, but I was actually very impressed also with the paint quality. Arteza didn't tell me that I had to say anything positive or give an actual like full super review on their products. They wanted to just send them to me, try them out, and let me see what I could make with them. But I honestly had a really good time with these paints. They did really well, they did their job, and there were so many different colors to choose from. And they mixed really well, and they just went on super well. Like I said, I'm not as experienced with acrylics, so I can't like compare it to like if you bought like a $500 bottle of acrylic paint, or I know they're not $500. I'm really overestimating. Those are more like oils. Oil paints can get pretty expensive, but like what I mean is I can't compare it to an expensive brand just because that's not really what I use. I don't really use acrylic paints. But at least in terms of the price of the box that you get with all of the different paints, and then the variety of colors you get in the box, and then the quality, like they worked really well, and like the color was really nice, and just having that diversity for that price was really nice. So if you guys are thinking about getting into acrylic painting or like diving into trying painting, like I would actually recommend doing the Arteza set just because it was pretty dang affordable for all those paints, and then it gives you an opportunity to really test out the tools and not feel like you're wasting like really expensive paint. And then I do have one critique. The brushes, I probably really abused them, and a couple of them started like not sticking together, and it might just be because it was a cheaper brush or like I wasn't painting with them correctly. But like the fine liner brushes, I would get some really detailed lines, but I think they slowly got bogged down with paint, or like I wasn't like washing them correctly. I don't really know what happened, but it got a little bit harder to paint the finer lines later on with the brushes. But the nice thing was it was a 15 pack of brushes, so I could just move on and try a new brush while the other one dried out, or like I tried to fix it. But I mean, they still worked. Like I got this piece done, and I think they worked pretty dang okay. And then the metallics, oh man, guys, the metallics were really nice. I finally put the gold in the background before I jumped into the line art, and it just was such a cool metallic-y color, and it was really hard. I like dabbed out a bunch of the different ones that came in the pack to try to pick, and it was hard, guys. Like, I just decided to go with the gold to make all the colors really stand out, but there was a lot of variety in that pack, and they were all super shiny and really fun. I want to do something with them for sure in the future. And there we have it, guys. I am all done with this skateboard deck, and wow, this took so long. I've actually had this on my project list for a while, and over the course of about 3 months on and off, I finished this thing. So this is crazy, like the amount of work that went into this. So first of all, I'd like to thank Arteza again for sponsoring me and sending me these amazing paints, because like seriously, I did not have acrylic paints in my house at all, so I didn't even know where to start with this thing, but since you guys sent me all those paints, I was able to make this with that. And it was super cool, like, to be able to actually finish painting this, and this is every monster that I've drawn on the channel for my Monster Mash. Outside of the Poke Fusions and a couple of the other specialty ones, these are all the original Monster Mash Fusion creatures. So yeah, it was a crazy amount of work, a lot of detailing, and if you guys want to pick up the supplies that I used to make this board, all the links are down in the description below, and you'd be helping out the channel too. So if you've been wanting to try out some new acrylics, I'd recommend grabbing the Arteza multi-pack, because man, there are a ton of colors in there too, and the metallics look really cool. Like, I really like, there we go, the gold sheen in the background is super dope too. So if you guys want to check it out, go to the links down in the description below. Anyway, thanks again, guys, so much for stopping by and checking out this video. This was super fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This took a lot of work, and I love how it turned out, and I hope you enjoyed watching the process as I made this skateboard deck. And if you guys aren't already, I'd really love it if you hit that subscribe button and join our little community of monster mashers and creature enthusiasts. I also do a lot of other fun videos on the channel, like I have my 100 Dragon Challenge, we have obviously the Monster Mashes, and some other creature and character design challenges. So thanks again, guys, so much for stopping by, and I will see you all next time. Bye, everybody. Now I gotta figure out how to mount this on my wall somewhere. Ooh, I don't even know where. Maybe I should put it in the background over here, like on... I think I'm gonna have to replace a poster, guys, because this needs to go up somewhere.